Okay, let's unpack this. We are strapping in today for a deep dive that goes right to the heart of consciousness, knowledge itself.
Yeah, it's pretty fundamental stuff we're getting into.
Our source material is quite philosophical. It's excerpts from a class transcript on, well, a foundational text of Advaita Vedanta, the Katha Upanishad. Specifically, we're looking at the third mantra, the second chapter. We pulled this from the VEDASCHOOL Tokyo YouTube channel transcript, the one titled Katha Upanishad Class 213 Munindra.Panda.
And our objective here for you listening is really crucial. It's about grasping the fundamental split between just like gathering knowledge about the world, facts, figures, experiences.
The stuff we learn every day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Versus achieving true wisdom, the kind the Upanishads talk about as self-realization or realizing the Atman. It's the difference between temporary knowing and permanent transformation.
And what jumps out straight away, according to the Bhashyakara, that's the ancient commentator on this text, is this incredible paradox. It's about how we usually think about knowledge.
Yeah, it's fascinating. For the average person, knowing more about things, about objects, situations, material comforts, it actually increases desire.
It fuels it.
It absolutely fuels it. Think about it. If you didn't know about that shiny new gadget, that faster phone or car,
You wouldn't want it.
you wouldn't feel the need, right?
Yeah.
This power of knowledge, which the text calls Jnana Shakti, it ends up feeding Ika Shakti, the desire, and Kriya Shakti, the action, to get it. It binds you tighter to the material world.
So knowledge in that sense, it's almost like fuel for wanting more, for doing more in the world.
In that context, yes. It drives consumerism, worldly ambition, all that. You get caught in this loop.
Know more, want more, do more to get more. It sounds exhausting.
It can be, but the text suggests true wisdom just cuts that loop entirely.
How so?
Well, this is the central counterpoint, the real core of it. When the focus shifts, when the topic becomes wisdom about the self, the Atman, and you start to really grasp it, the whole dynamic flips. All that desire to chase after the world, to associate with its objects, it just disappears, vanishes.
Completely.
According to the teaching, yes. That total evaporation of worldly desire is the sign. It's the marker that you've achieved the true goal. Self-realization. Not just suppressing desire, but its actual disappearance.
Wow. Okay, that sets the stage really clearly. So how do we even start talking about this self, this Atman? The mantra itself throws down a challenge, doesn't it? It asks, how do we perceive things like color, taste, smell, sound, touch?
Yeah, it goes right to basics. And instinctively we answer, well, my eyes see, my nose smells, my hand touches. The physical explanation.
It feels real.
It's the conventional understanding. But the teaching kind of dismantles that. It introduces a foundational idea. Only a conscious principle can actually know an object.
Very conscious principle. What does that mean practically?
The logic is simple but deep. Your eyes, your nose, your whole body. They're matter, just gross matter. They're made of the exact same stuff as the external objects they perceive, the table, the rock, the food.
So the eye is matter and the thing it sees is matter.
Correct. And the crucial point the Lord teaches is, one inanimate object can never, ever know another inanimate object. A rock doesn't know a tree. Your eye, being matter, can't know the tree on its own.
But wait, if the body is just inert matter, like you said, like a table, how do we feel pain or pleasure? How does consciousness use this matter without getting tangled up in its limits, its suffering?
That's a really critical question. The feeling of pain or sensation is the matter, the body, relaying information. It's a stimulus. But the awareness, the interpretation of that stimulus, that, ouch, this hurts, or, this feels good, that requires something beyond mere matter.
So the body's just the messenger, not the reader of the message.
In essence, yes. As far as a pure ability to know is concerned, there's no difference between your sense organ and the object it senses. The knowing itself comes from somewhere else.
Okay, so the body and mind are the instruments. They're not the actual knower. That's where the Atman comes in.
Precisely. The Atman, the self. The source calls it Vijnana Swarupa, or Vijnana Svabhava.
Which, in plain English, means?
It means pure, inherent consciousness. Its very nature is consciousness.
So the Atman is the real knower. It's this pure consciousness that allows our intelligence to work, to perceive the world through the senses, seeing forms via the eyes, smelling via the nose, and so on.
Exactly. And to make this relationship super clear, the source uses a classic, really powerful analogy.
The red-hot iron.
That's the one.
Yeah, I like this one. You see a piece of iron glowing red-hot, and what do you say? Watch out, that iron will burn you.
Right. Conventionally, we say the iron burns the object. It seems obvious, but logically, we know the power to burn doesn't belong to the iron itself. Iron on its own is cold.
It's the fire, isn't it? The fire in the
It's
iron.
the fire underlying the iron. The heat belongs to the fire, which is just transferred through the metal.
So the fire is the real source of the burning power.
It is. And in the same way, it's the conscious Atman, the fire residing behind or within the body-mind-sense complex, the iron that truly perceives, knows, and experiences the world.
So calling the body or the mind the knower is just conventional shorthand, like saying the iron burns.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
The Atman is the self-luminous power, the light source that makes perception possible through the instrument of the body.
Okay, that dynamic is,
Uh-huh.
yeah, that's the hinge, moving us from just thinking about the physical world to this deeper spiritual inquiry. So if the Atman is the real power behind all perception, does that mean it sees, like, everything?
You're jumping right to the next line of the mantra.
Well, it presents this huge idea, right? It asks, what remains here in this world that is unknown by the Atman?
And the implied answer in the text is nothing. Nothing remains unknown, which immediately brings up this concept of Sarvajanya omniscience.
Omniscience,
Yeah.
knowing everything, that sounds huge, maybe impossible.
Well, this is where we really need to slow down and be careful. We have to understand this idea of Sarvajanya from two very different viewpoints. Our common understanding, the one we get from stories or movies, it's not quite right here.
Okay. What are the two viewpoints?
So the first one is the common one, Sarvam Janati Sarvanya. This basically means knowing everything in the world, all the facts, past, present, future, every particle, every detail.
Like a giant cosmic database?
Sort of, yeah. And this definition is usually applied to the individual soul, the jiva, trying to know everything while stuck in a body.
Which seems impossible, right? Your brain can't hold infinite facts.
Physically impossible, yes. And that leads us to the second, much more profound Vedic definition, Prajananam Gana.
Prajanam Gana. What does that translate to?
Here, the Atman isn't defined as knowing all the facts, but as pure consciousness itself, Chit, or Chidananda. It's described as a mass or solidified form of consciousness and knowledge.
Okay, hold on. So it's not about having all knowledge, but about being knowledge, being consciousness.
Yeah, exactly. It's about its inherent nature. It is the substance of knowing itself, not just an accumulator of things known. Think of light. Light doesn't contain illumination. It is illumination.
Wow, okay. That's a completely different way to think about omniscience. It's not about quantity of information.
Not at all. And this distinction leads us perfectly into understanding the two types of dhyana, the two ways we experience or relate to knowledge.
Right, two kinds of knowledge. Let's break those down.
Okay. First, there's Vritti Jnana. Think of this as produced knowledge. Knowledge you have to acquire to generate.
Like learning in school, reading a book, studying this text right now.
Precisely. It's a modification of your thought process, your mind, what's called antakarana vritti. It happens when ignorance about something is destroyed, like flipping on a light switch in a dark room. You have to make an effort.
And it's temporary, right? You can forget things you learned.
Yes, it requires effort to gain and effort to maintain. Now, contrast that with the second type,
Which is,
Swarupa Jnana. This is the self-luminous awareness of the Atman, or Brahman. It's not produced. It doesn't need to be switched on. It's always present within you. It is your essential nature.
always present. Like fire is always hot.
Exactly the analogy used. Fire doesn't become hot. Its very nature, its Swarupa, is heat. It doesn't need to make an effort to be hot. Similarly, Swarupa Jnana is the inherent unproduced awareness that defines your very being.
Okay, that makes sense. The always-on awareness versus the knowledge we have to switch on through effort.
Got it. So going back to Sarvajanya, the omniscience.
So when the text says the Atman is Sarvanya,
Yeah.
it must be talking about it from the Swarupa Jnana perspective.
Absolutely. It's omniscient not because it contains every fact, like a giant Vritti Jnana library.
But because its very nature is the light of knowing, the source of all possible knowing. Swarupa Jnana.
That is the crucial insight here. The individual soul, the jiva, trapped in the body, cannot become omniscient in the sense of knowing all facts, Vritti Jnana, no matter how much they study or meditate. But every soul, as Swarupa Jnana, as pure inherent consciousness, already is omniscient in its fundamental nature. Because it is the light, the awareness itself.
That completely reframes the goal. It's not about learning everything. It's about realizing the nature you already have.
You've got it.
Okay, so that brings us back to the ultimate question for you listening. If the final goal is self-realization, the text calls it Vishnu Paramam Padam, the highest state, beyond karma, beyond all the usual laws. How do we actually get there? If piling up worldly knowledge or even spiritual knowledge, that Vritti Jnana isn't the direct path, what is? How do we access that Swarupa Jnana?
Right. This is where the philosophy connects directly to practice, to what you actually do. The text is quite clear that all the external spiritual practices we hear about, bhakti devotion, karma yoga, selfless action, raja yoga, meditation, all those 18 different yogas mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita,
Yeah, all the paths.
they all serve a primary, absolutely essential function. They prepare the mind.
Prepare the mind.
They achieve what's called citta-suddhi, purification of the mind stuff.
Ah, cleaning the mental slate, basically.
Exactly. They calm the constant mental chatter, the noise, the turbulence. They remove the impurities, the attachments, aversions, egoism that cloud our perception and distort our understanding of the truth.
So they're like prerequisites. You need to do them.
Absolutely vital prerequisites. Think of it like cleaning a mirror. You need a clean mirror to see a clear reflection. These practices clean the mirror of the mind.
But the cleaning itself isn't the seeing of the reflection.
Precisely. A clean mirror doesn't create the image. It just allows the image, which is already there, to be reflected clearly.
Okay, so even if I spend decades mastering meditation or doing selfless service, which are crucial for purifying the mind, for citta-suddhi, that effort alone won't automatically trigger the realization.
According to this teaching, no. Realization of the self, enlightenment, it comes only through wisdom, through jhana, and specifically through accessing or recognizing your Swarupa Jnana.
Not the accumulated kind, the Vritti Jnana.
Right. Accumulating knowledge about spirituality, reading thousands of books, understanding concepts intellectually. That's Vritti Jnana. It's useful, it clarifies things, it points the way, but it won't in itself be the enlightenment because it's produced, it's external, it's temporary.
So how can you, the listener, know if your daily practice, your learning, is just adding more Vritti Jnana, or if it's actually nudging you toward recognizing Swarupa Jnana? What does that feel like practically?
That's a great question, and it brings us full circle back to desire. Vritti Jnana, accumulated knowledge, even spiritual knowledge, often subtly increases the sense of I, the ego. I know this, I understand that, I am spiritually advanced. It can sometimes fuel more subtle desires, maybe for experiences or recognition, or even just the feeling of being knowledgeable.
The spiritual ego trap.
Exactly. Swarupa Jnana, on the other hand, is recognized by the dissolution of that ego and the spontaneous falling away of worldly desire we talked about earlier. It's not something you achieve or acquire through effort in the same way. It's more like a sudden recognition, a remembering.
Like waking up.
Perhaps it's realizing, my true form, my Swarupa, is Atman. It's seeing that the light, the awareness was on all along. You just didn't recognize it because the mirror was dirty or you were focused on the reflection.
That sense of inherent unproduced awareness.
Yeah.
The fire, not the iron. That realization is the actual path or the arrival point.
True realization, the text suggests, requires going beyond the constant effort of producing knowledge, the studying, memorizing, debating, acquiring, and learning to rest in, to recognize that ever-present self-luminous wisdom that is your inherent nature. You stop trying so hard to learn who you are.
And you simply realize who you've always been.
That's the essence of it.
Wow. What an incredible deep dive into the very core of consciousness, all drawn from just this one mantra. Okay, so for you listening, let's try to boil down the key takeaways.
Good idea.
First, the body and senses. They're just matter tools. They aren't the real knower.
Instruments only.
Second, the Atman is the conscious fire behind the iron. It's the real power of perception.
The true source of awareness.
And third, this crucial difference between Vritti Jnana, temporary, produced knowledge we learn.
Like facts and concepts.
And Swarupa Jnana, the self-luminous inherent wisdom that we are.
The always present awareness, those are the core points.
So we should probably leave you with a final thought, something to really mull over, drawing from the essence of this text.
Okay.
If the highest purpose of life, as suggested here, is ultimately self-realization, how much of our daily learning, our mental energy, our effort is actually focused on accumulating more produced knowledge? You know, the Vritti Jnana about the world, things that change, facts that expire, information that, as we saw, often just increases desire.
Compared
to how much time or mental space we dedicate to just turning inward, to recognizing or trying to access that inherent, unproduced knowledge that Swarupa Jnana, the self-luminous wisdom that this text insists, is already resting within us right now.
That's the question to sit with. Where is your focus really? On acquiring more reflections or on realizing the source of the light itself?
Definitely food for serious thought. Thank you so much for joining us on this exploration of the Katha Upanishad. We really encourage you to perhaps Seek out these texts, these ideas, and explore them further for yourself.